Spymaster Adagio, written by Roger Bensaid, narrated by Peter Pollock. Acknowledgements and Foreword. This book was some years in the making, primarily because my English is so poor, and it would not have been published at all without the heroic editing effort of Maggie Jones, who, unlike me, can tell a comma from a full stop. Now I've got this first book off my chest, I can get on with the sequels. I do hope the reader gets some enjoyment from an old-fashioned Cold War soldier-spy story with an underlying vendetta that is set to continue. So why did I write it? Well, it's complicated. Firstly, I was serving when I wrote the middle or part 2 of the book, when it was a simple choice of go to the bar after work or create something. I chose to write, and despite my poor grasp of grammar, I got it done. And also in the hope it would transform me into a wordsmith. Over the duration of the book's creation, there were many friends who helped. Some were amused, some sympathetic, thank goodness, and a few somewhat bemused. For their input and help, my thanks to Kate, Andrew, Graham, Pat, Nancy, and Bob. Roger, 2013. Get on and do it. Never give up. Focus on the barriers to achieving your mission. Innovate, improvise, and overcome. Just get it done. Bob. If it's under the bridge, it's gone. Only the next step counts, so step carefully. Pat. Part 1. Chapter 1. South Africa, 0 hour. Jean Syed, the mercenary leader, lay alert and tense in the bush scrubland, with his men silent all around him. He knew he was beginning to show signs that he was anxious. This irritated him, and he fought an uncharacteristic rising panic. He settled himself down by breathing in and out slowly until he felt calm again. A cold sweat had broken out on his forehead, forming beads that ran down into his eyes, stinging them. Irritably he wiped the sweat away with his forearm. His eyes still stung, and he screwed them up and blinked hard to clear the mist in them. He knew that he had to hide any outward feelings of anxiety. It would be a disaster for his men to see that he had any doubts about the task that lay ahead. As it was, the men barely tolerated him. Many of them were old enough to be his father, and they had a natural distrust of the taciturn, cold-eyed Arab. For themselves, the men felt little warmth or rapport with Syed, and he knew it, just as he knew that, before the night was out, that had to change. They thought of him as a cold, calculating machine, and had little confidence that if they were in trouble, he would not simply dispatch any individual dispassionately in exchange for his own success or that of the mission. Nevertheless, their code, such as it was, meant they would follow him. He had hired them, and they had agreed to his leadership. The men were a mixed group of whites and coloreds from a myriad of countries across the world. The team had been brigaded together for this single mission. As a body, they were as good as you would find anywhere, with their freelance status as soldiers of fortune. Nevertheless, most felt an unease with their Arab leader. They all knew of him, but only by reputation, and in many ways the men's cohesion as a team was generated by their reliance on each other rather than their leader. Jean Syed, tanned and fit and in his early 30s, was a West Bank Arab who looked more European than Arab, save for the doe-shaped, dark brown eyes and short black hair. Stocky and formidably strong for his size, he was quick in movement and thought. Jean's forays against the Israelis as a youth had earned him a price on his head at an early age. When the Israelis overran his family home, he had to flee, working his way from Egypt down the continent of Africa. He had worked for any dissident leader who would hire him, building his reputation as a mercenary who would lead men successfully into situations where another would have hesitated. In Angola, he was noticed by the Cuban advisers there. His leadership style when in a fight was effective and innovative. Whilst these skills were critical to a fighter, Syed lacked other essential leadership skills in planning, logistics, and administration, which the Cuban officers felt could be corrected and which would add value to his usefulness to them. They concluded that both he and they would benefit if they sent him away for leadership.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?